Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So today, y'all find me in a different spot. I'm up in my craft room. No, remind me later. Sorry, got a little distracted with my sewing machine. So today I thought we would do a fun little craft. I know it's coming up on Valentine's Day, and so one of these is going to be somewhat Valentine's Day themed. But I thought we would maybe do a little sewing project. You could do this on your machine. You could do this by hand. So I'm going to be using the machine just for sake of ease, and I just think it makes it so much faster to do it this way. But what are we going to make? We're going to be making some corner bookmarks. So stay tuned. All right, we're out in the landing upstairs where I keep my ironing board and my Rowenta Perfect Steam iron. I will link this, y'all. It is an investment, but it's the best iron that I've ever had, ever. I make no exceptions. So to make your fabric bookmark, what you're going to need are some 4-inch squares of scrap fabric. You can use any kind of scrap fabric that you happen to have on hand. I am going to be using my egg fabric and my chicken fabric. I had a little bit of that left over, and it's one of my absolute favorites. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take a piece of fusible interfacing. Now I know I'm holding this really close, but can you see the little dots? Those are dots of glue as compared to the non-glue side. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take, I want the chicken to be the back of my bookmark, because it'll be the entire chicken rather than the flat part. So I'm going to take my fusible interfacing. I'm going to stick it on here. And again, this is a 4-inch square approximately. And then my particular type of interfacing requires a damp cloth. I'm going to place that over the fabrics. And I'm going to steam this damp fabric covering, and that will actually adhere the glue dots. It will cause them to melt to your fabric. Super simple so far, right, y'all? And you're going to have something that looks like this. So don't worry about the little bit of edges that hang over. It doesn't have to be perfect 4 inches. Close enough. So now we're going to build a little sandwich. So let me grab some pins here, y'all. Can't have everything. So the reason that we're putting the interfacing inside here is we want it to be a little stiffer than just the plain cotton fabric. So I'm actually going to be using, first I'm going to put down my egg fabric with the right side facing up. I'm going to want to put this part in here too, so that we can turn it and everything will be right side out. But we need some type of a pocket to go over the edge of the page. So I am going to take another one of these 4-inch squares, fold it on the diagonal. I'm gonna iron that down or press that down. And now we're ready to build. So easy, y'all. So you want your folded edge towards the inside, and you want to line it up, and then on top we're going to place our chicken piece with the interfacing. Gosh, come on, brain, work. And I am just going to pin this whole sandwich, if you will, together. You can use the clips. I don't care for the clips. I find that I have a harder time getting my seams flat. So there you have it. And what we're going to do is we're going to stitch all the way around this piece of fabric, but we're going to leave about 1 inch open so that we can turn everything right side out. So let's go on over to the sewing machine, and I'll show you how to stitch around secure it, and then we'll get busy turning. All right, let me go ahead and program my machine for a seam. Gotta love my new Husqvarna Designer Epic 2. It's not so new, but it's new to me. So I'm going to sew about a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around, leaving that 1.5 inch opening. So let me find my foot pedal here. Okay, here we go. Now you do want to backstitch a little bit at the beginning and the end of your stitching, because we're going to be putting some pressure on those stitches when we turn it. So, not sewing over any of the pins. When you get to the corner, simply turn and continue on. And that's why you shouldn't sew over pins. It didn't break my needle, but you stand a pretty good risk of doing that. And this is not so much fabric that you can't hold it pretty securely. All right, and our final side. Again, oops, nope, that's not our final side. Up to the corner. And now our final side. Again, we're going to leave that space open to turn. We're going to backstitch. And my machine actually has a fix feature, so it will actually knot the thread and it will cut the thread. How simple was that, right? So let's go ahead and trim off our excess threads here from start and finish. And now, when you are going to turn something that has a corner, you do want to remove some of the bulk out of the corner. So what I'm going to do, hello Frankie. Frankie loves sewing days. This is the warmest room of the house, so he definitely likes coming up here and laying on everything, getting in my way, but he thinks he's helping. All right, so I've just trimmed off, as you see, just those little corner pieces. And we're ready to turn. Guys, this is such a simple project. Might not have left as much open to turn as I could have. So you're going to have to fuss with it a little bit if you didn't leave a very big opening like I didn't. But basically, you're just going to begin to turn and pull it at right side out. So let me work on that so I'm not fiddling, and I'll bring you right back. All right, so we have our little corner pocket. We have our chicken on the other side. I've turned it right side out. I did go ahead and press it. And now to finish this off, we're just going to top stitch around the edge. And you can choose how far you want to top stitch. I am going to do about 1/8 of an inch. I just think it makes it a little bit easier. And our piece where we turned, y'all take my advice, make it a little bigger than I did. There's a little bit of fiddling to get it turned. But we're going to actually sew that together so that there will be no raw edges in danger of fraying. So let's maybe start right in the middle of the bottom. And we're just going to stitch all the way around at 1/8 of an inch. And again, same way, just pivot at your corners. I am going to go ahead and trim this starting thread just so I don't get it caught as I come around and make like an unsightly thread glob. If you have trouble at the corners, you can certainly help it along with the point of the scissors, you know, to get out of the corner, because there is a little bit more fabric there. finish it up. And you want to meet up exactly with the start of your stitching. And again, I'll just hit the fix button and trim it. Cut off those excess threads. Hey guys, how cute is this? So, sorry y'all, I've got the angle kind of funny. Let me show you how this design would work. So, let's say you finish your book up right here. You simply slide your corner bookmark over the page just like that. It keeps your place. It's attractive. Some of the ones that I saw on Pinterest, because I need to stay off Pinterest, just saying. You can also, guys, do it at the bottom, by the way. Like, yay. I saw some made out of like a felt material where they had embroidered like someone's initial or flowers or butterfly. So really the possibilities as far as how you want to decorate it are endless. You could put lace, you could do a little iron on, you could do those little flowers that you can kind of embroider on or stitch down. So many options. So I thought, well, if you can do it in a square, I wonder if you can do it in a heart. Why, yes, indeed, you can do it in a heart. So let me go ahead and fuse some interfacing to the wrong side of a different fabric, and we are going to do one in a heart design. Stay tuned. So the fabrics I've chosen for the heart design is a plaid, which I would say just make sure you cut along the lines of the plaid so it doesn't look like this, and a red, white, and blue cherry design. So I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I am going to have, even though this isn't laid out properly, you'll understand what I mean. So here's my piece with interfacing fused to the wrong side. So this will be the inside, and then this is going to be the pocket. Make sense? But we are going to make a heart template. So what I've done is I took a 4-inch square piece, I folded it on the diagonal, and then I made it into like an ice cream cone. So when you open it up, you still have the square edges, which is what you need to go over your book page, but you've got that lovely heart shape at the top. So I am going to cut out this quite simply by tracing it onto, using the corner as my template. I'm going to trace around here, and I'm going to cut all 3 pieces in equal heart shapes because there's a little magic trick. So stay tuned for that. All right. So what we have here are our 2 heart pieces. I just traced around on the interfacing side and cut them both out at the same time. So we have a little heart, but we still have our corner. Now, we don't want to cut the piece with the interfacing. We want to cut the piece that doesn't have the interfacing. And we're going to measure up about 1 inch from the point of the inside heart. So actually maybe around, let's do about 1.5 inches. And we're going to just cut that right off of this piece. And this is going to enable us to be able to sew all the way around without having to turn exactly like we did the last one. So I'm going to take this piece of fabric. I am going to go to the ironing board. I am going to iron it in half so that it will fit on the inside of here. I think actually I might go ahead and cut that back just a little bit. So let's cut it off here and here. because otherwise it's going to extend beyond where we want it to. Let me iron this first and then we'll cut that off. Great idea to mark it and then iron over it when you're using a heat erasable pen. So yeah, don't do that. So what I'm going to actually do here is I'm just going to pin this together with the points together. So this is going to be our pocket. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to trim it. Well, hopefully we're going to put that on a little bit more evenly. I'm going to trim it so that it is just the right size pocket and we don't have all this excess fabric. Makes more sense than marking it anyway, right? So we're going to trim those additional points off. All right, and now we're ready to build our sandwich. So we have our cherry pocket, our plaid, if you will, backing, and then we have this heart as well. So we want the right sides of the front and back together. We'll go ahead and pin that. Y'all, I had this all figured out in my head, and then sometimes when you get ready to do it, you're like, whoopsie. Yeah, I think we got it here. And we're going to be able to stitch the entire way around because this is cut. We can actually then just flip it and top stitch it. Now, whenever you're sewing around a lot of curves like this, it really helps if you shorten your stitch length so you won't have those bigger gaps between your stitches and it's easier to make a curve. So let's go over to the machine here. I'm going to swing you around. Y'all don't look at the floor. My craft room has stayed relatively organized, but not as organized. All right, so let's, right now, let me see if I can, I don't know how well y'all can see this. So on my machine, it's all digital. So the stitch width, of course, is 0 because we're not zigzagging. We're sewing in a straight line. But our stitch length is 2.5. I'm going to take that down to about 1.5. It just makes it so much easier to stitch. I also recommend that you don't start at a point here, you know, start midway between a couple of the points. I just think it makes it easier. And again, we're going to use the 1/4 inch stitch length. And we're going to sew all the way around. So here we go. And when you get to the point, you want to go ahead and pivot, and sewing slowly when you're sewing on a curve does make it a little bit more accurate. So I'm going to pull my pin here, and we're going to continue around, and I'm using my stitch width marker right here on the sewing, what's called the face plate. And then I'm just going to continue to pivot. So again, guys, just go slow, shorten your stitch length, and your heart will come out better if you do it that way. I don't recommend eyeballing. All right. So we'll sew down to the point. And if you're uncertain if you've sewn far enough, you can kind of go back and forth. And y'all, I don't want that to catch, so let me pull that pocket back just a touch. All right, and continuing on. We're through almost the hardest part. We're into our second curve. Again, guys, slow and steady wins the race. You know, I'd make 3 or 4, up to 6 stitches. Just continue to turn until we're back to our straight line, which is a lot easier to measure. And we're back to straight line sewing. And final stitches, fix, and cut. All right. Go ahead and trim your threads. And I'm not throwing it on the floor, guys. I do have a garbage can under there. Now, this is what you're going to have. So a nice looking heart. One of the things you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and cut the center point of the heart down almost, but not through your stitching. And then go ahead and clip your corners like we did before to make your seams a little bit smoother. I just think this would make a really cute Valentine's Day gift. And, okay, are you ready? So all you need to do is just turn the points of your heart and your pocket. And I will smooth this out. But how cute is that, y'all? How cute is that? So if you have a pair of more rounded tip scissors or a chopstick, either way. Now, I think if I was redoing this, I would maybe not make the pocket quite as deep as what I did, but it certainly works. So you're going to slide in here and then push out all of your seams nice and smooth. Chopstick works well too. Don't use the real pointed scissors. You will go through the fabric. And this is a heavier, like a duck cloth type fabric. So it's a little bit stiff, but I think it's nice for the heart shape. Makes it a little more defined. And then we're going to push out our point at the bottom. So let me take this over, get it pressed out really well. We'll do the same top stitching, and then I'll bring you back for some final thoughts. So our cute little heart corner marker is finished. Works great to stick over the corner of the book. It doesn't lie quite as flat as the square version. I think the square is my pick, but the heart's certainly cute for Valentine's Day, right? You could do these larger, smaller, and like I said, any type of fabric. You could embroider on it. You can put a decal on it. There's so many options. And I just thought this is a great way to use up some scraps. A nice, thoughtful gift to enclose in a card for someone. I can just think of a million uses for these. I need like 5,000 of them because a lot of my books have bent over pages. I know librarians are all going, So I have a question for you, and I hope you all will drop me a comment below. I know I haven't done many craft videos, y'all. Winter is generally the time that I spend the most of my time in the craft room. And I only want to bring you things that you're really interested in. But I thought a really good project might be to teach you all, even though I make them and sell them, how to do a canning mat, because it is so incredibly simple to do with the right materials. And even though I have 4 of them, when I am in the throes of canning, especially if I'm canning day after day after day, where I've, slopped food, that'd be me on a canning mat, I can always use like 7 more. It feels like they wash and dry beautifully. I actually wash mine, shake them well, and hang to dry. I don't use my dryer very much. So let me know if you would be interested, number 1, in a canning mat video. Number 2, what else would you like to learn to make? One of the things that I love doing is making seasonal, I'll say, table runners and placemats. So I could also do a video on that. One of the items that I really like having, let me see if I can grab it for you right quick. Oh, y'all. I cleaned everything out, and now I can't find a daggone thing. Okay, here we go. I forget what these are called, but y'all know. At the fabric stores, and we have Joann's here in Ohio. I know Hobby Lobby sells fabric. I've not seen these at Hobby Lobby, but I've definitely seen them at Joann's. You can buy these bundle of strips. I bought this, you know how they'll have like a coupon kind of a thing, plus it was on sale, plus, you know, I don't know, it wasn't very much. But this is all manner of barbecue stuff. So it has like steaks. I actually did a table runner and I backed it, I think, with the ketchup and mustard fabric that I have. It is so stinking cute. I've also done one in pastels. Oops. Let me pull the drawer out on the floor, y'all. So you can get homespun. This is a pretty, like one for summer. Let's see what else I have. That might be different. I have a lot of the same ones. Okay, here's one that is red, white, and black, and it's quite a large amount. So what do you do with these? Well, you sew them together in strips, and then you can quilt them. You can sew them together in strips, cut it the other way, so you have a strip of multiple squares, and this is, I don't know how wide, maybe 3 inches wide. So I have a lot of these that I'd like to kind of get started making some things, because when summer comes, I don't have time to sew. Plus this room is stinking hot in the summer. So if you would like some, I'll call them strip crafts or anything specific that you're like, I know this can't be that hard to make and I'd like to learn how to make it, I would really appreciate it if you drop me a comment below. Y'all, I have no problem thinking of things I want to do videos on. My question is, if it does not add value to you, if it isn't something that you can use, then it doesn't make sense for me to present it in a video format. I am so blessed to have this YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get emotional, y'all. Oh, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say, this will get me distracted. Y'all, look, can you see? My beautiful pin from my friend across the pond, Miss Jane. I think this one's my favorite. Every time I wear a new one, I'm like, no, wait, this is my favorite. Wait, no, this is my favorite. And I have the perfect dress to wear that clear stone necklace with. So it's a little fancy for a YouTube video, but you'll see it. No worries on that. So let me know, guys, what interests you? What do you think would be fun to have or fun to learn? I know that there are people who don't own sewing machines, who do hand stitching projects. So I would keep that in mind as well. By the way, y'all, you could do this totally hand stitched. What I will say is just make sure, because of the stress when you're turning this one, the square one, right side out, that you stitch and stitch and stitch, and not very well, because otherwise it's just going to pull out and again leave a bigger opening than I did, that's for sure. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Y'all, I have a few sewing projects over here. Yeah, that I need to get busy on, but for right now, I'm thinking about a strip project for myself, because I want to do a little bit of decorating for Valentine's Day. Y'all, I'm not a big every holiday decorator, but since I moved my island back into the kitchen, that gives me the opportunity to put out a 3-tier tray, and I'm thinking I need something kind of Valentine-ish. So I think I'm going to make myself a table runner today. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to leave me that comment, smash the like button. Y'all, by the way, we continue to grow. A few new subscribers every day. Welcome to all of you. I'm so glad you're here. I hope if you're participating in the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, I hope it's going well for you. Y'all, I made best meal yesterday. Gotta tell you this. I have a lot of ground beef on hand, And I know this is weird, but I'm not a huge hamburger eater. I'm not a huge ground beef eater. But with my Butcher Box subscription, for a period of time, I was getting 2 pounds of ground beef free with every order. So yeah, I'm a little ground beef heavy as I did my freezer inventory. I made the most incredible meatloaf utilizing my home canned caramelized onions, my fermented ketchup. It was fabulous. Made some baked potatoes. I rarely eat potatoes, but I had some that were going bad, along with some green beans that I grew in my garden and home canned, and it was absolutely fabulous. That weight I've lost might come back if I keep eating like this. So I hope you're finding some unique and different meals, some ways to use things out of your pantry before our new growing and canning season starts. So I will see you all next week. I would like, again, to be doing some more craft type videos. I'm also working on a 100% cotton throw, I guess you would say, a crochet project. So if there's a crochet project you would like to see, let me know. We've had an unseasonably warm January. Today is the 20th. Pardon me, y'all. The hiccups are back, by the way. It was in the upper 50s yesterday, and around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I got an alert about a severe thunderstorm warning and high winds. I put my girls in the small coop, and I need to say something about the coop as well. And they put themselves to bed because it got dark and it got windy, and my chickens do not like the wind. Frankie is also terrified of the wind. He slept on my head last night, so my hair's wet, y'all. I did have to wash my hair because I looked like I combed my hair with an egg beater this morning. But that wind blew in a cold front, and we are supposed to have about 3 inches of snow on Sunday. This is Friday. So looking forward, it looks like we're going to have our more January weather, late January and into February. So I will be spending more time inside. A couple of you mentioned, is that the new chicken run? Yes, y'all, I didn't realize I hadn't shown you. It is a wonderful chicken run. As soon as we have good enough weather, I will share with you some of the features and benefits, why I like it so much. And if you notice, yes, it's only 4 foot high, and I am taller than 4 foot. But you have to bend over to muck out the coop anyway, so I don't think it's going to be, or it hasn't been a huge deal thus far. It is longer and a little bit narrower than the previous coop, but guys, it is built like a battleship, and it did not budge in that wind last night. And I also like that it has the a little bit of a peaked roof. So I'll share more about that when the weather's a little bit nicer. So I'll see you all next week. Don't forget to leave me that comment, very important. If there's a non-sewing or non-crocheting craft you'd like to see, include that as well. So until I see you again, take care of yourselves, guys. Take care of each other. Be healthy, be well, be blessed. See you soon.